Hello, and welcome to the Siemens Connect podcast series with your host, myself, Christine Moran. If you're new to listening, each podcast will have a special guest from our Siemens Connect ecosystem. Our Siemens Connect ecosystem allows Siemens to partner with third-party companies to establish integrations to Siemens systems. Today, we'll be talking to Brian from our partner, Puro. Hey, Brian, how are you?
I'm doing great. How are you today?
I'm good. Do you want to start off by telling us a little bit about yourself?
Of course. So I'm Brent Stern. I'm the CEO of Puro. Been in the lighting and UV disinfection space since 2009 when I started my first company 2 years out of college. And Puro has been around for the last 4 years. We were primarily pioneering the healthcare and athletic spaces with UV technology, and then expanded what we were doing greatly during the pandemic to assist schools, universities, transit departments, commercial spaces with disinfection technologies. We've completed some of the largest projects in the world using disinfection systems and some of the well-tested products in the category.
Cool. Yeah, so I know you kind of touched a little bit on this already, but can you tell me a little bit more about what Puro offers and what you guys do?
Of course. So Puro has a variety of different offerings, all around UV disinfection technology. So UV is basically a type of light or radiation that can be used to disinfect surfaces or continuously disinfect air. And so we have multiple product categories. We have our surface disinfection products, which are our Helo products. These are designed to basically provide acute levels of disinfection, so high levels of disinfection of surfaces in short periods of time. And then we have our Puro Air line, which is our continuous air disinfection technologies. And these are designed to be installed within spaces or in HVAC systems to continuously disinfect the air within those spaces. We can achieve very high levels of disinfection, up to 99.999% levels of disinfection of viruses and bacteria, fungal and mold. And so our solutions are used kind of all over the place, primarily throughout North America, Europe, and some areas in South America, and used within healthcare, within schools and universities, general commercial spaces, as well as transit applications.
So you guys are pretty much everywhere, it sounds like. Every market, lots of different countries.
we're in quite a few different markets, and really, our products were originally designed for the healthcare space. So they were designed to like a very high level that's required for healthcare applications. And what we've found is just the tremendous need in other categories and locations for these products. So we've expanded our lines significantly. Over the last 2 years, we've gone from having 3 main products that we offer into the market to today we have 10 kind of market-leading products that we offer. So it's been a crazy couple of years of growth, and we're continuing to bring out new products, new technologies, improvements to our existing lines, and expanding our capabilities.
Wow, that's pretty cool. So
yeah, it's been fun.
So I know UV lighting, for me, it seems new just because it's, I'm just learning about a lot of this stuff now, but is it really a new technology or has it been around for a while?
It's definitely not a new technology. So UV has been around for a very long time. The original testing on UV products happened about 140 years ago. And essentially during that, scientists would put kind of like bacteria samples out into the sun. The sun obviously produces different spectrums of UV that make their way to the Earth's surface, and found that different types of bacteria or fungus were actually killed by a spectrum of sunlight, or inactivated by a spectrum of sunlight. And so scientists back then actually concluded that there was a spectrum that was affecting them in some way. They didn't know exactly how it was affecting them at that time, but that was some of the first UV research. Some of the first commercial product that was actually used in the market was during during the polio epidemics in like the 1940s. And UV for upper air disinfection was being used within classrooms, hospitals, a couple other categories. And what they found, because they were doing large rollouts of this, is that polio infections actually decreased by about 60% in the classrooms that were using UV for upper air. And so really significant studies. And so UV has been around for a very long time. Knowledge around the use of UV for reducing airborne pathogens, again, has been around for a very long time. But what we've done, I would say, in like the last decade is just in kind of improvements to the technology. The technology has become easier to use in more applications. And I think the effectiveness of the technology has really kind of shown in the last couple of years, just due to the amount of press that was around the pandemic. One of the first large jobs that we worked on during the pandemic was the City of New York mass transit. So this was disinfecting all the subways and buses for the City of New York. It got a tremendous amount of press. It made headlines. We were on every major media publication that was out there: CNN, ABC, NBC, Fox, BBC, TechCrunch, pretty much everyone. And that kind of, I would say, caused some of the explosive growth in the UV space during the pandemic. We were the third organization in the world to actually test against SARS-CoV-2, so the COVID-19 virus. And our technology was shown very early on in the pandemic to be highly effective against the COVID-19 virus. And so from there, I would say that the category expanded kind of exponentially. The amount of applications for its use expanded exponentially, and the knowledge around UV, just the household knowledge around UV, I think expanded tremendously during that time.
Yeah, I didn't realize how old that was. It's very interesting that, it was used during the polio times too.
Yes, so it's been a really well-proven technology. It's not something new to the market, and the science behind it is very old. There's obviously there's a large body of science behind using UVC for germicidal inactivation. Studies in the last 5 or 10 years that have, I would say, further expanded the body of knowledge around it.
Okay. I know you touched on this already a little bit, but how did the pandemic start really affecting your business? And I remember reading some of these articles that you were referencing about like the New York transit system and, being installed in a lot of different places. It's very interesting.
Definitely. So I'd say it broadened the reach of our technologies. As I mentioned, the technologies that we were primarily selling into the markets before the pandemic a lot of them were going to the healthcare world. Healthcare understood the use of UV, and they had started standardizing in various applications. And so because of that, we had a lot of testing already on our products. We knew what our products were able to do, but the products were not designed for a transit application. Mm-hmm. Operating room or a patient room, things like that. And so we had to I would say kind of flex quite a bit at the beginning of the pandemic and get really creative with the solution offering to make it a little bit easier to use in some of these other application types. City of New York, again, that was kind of the biggest project at the beginning of the pandemic for us or any company. I think it was one of the largest UV implementations in the world, if not the largest. And it helped us to, I would say, broaden the scope of our product use. So, from there we started, being used in hotels, in commercial spaces that were trying to stay open, in logistics. Obviously continued in healthcare, and then expanded tremendously in schools, in the school and university space, which had a lot of need. They were trying to figure out ways to bring students back into those facilities. And from our original product lines, which were primarily focused on surface disinfection, So disinfecting actual surfaces within a space, because the healthcare world, that was a big focus of theirs. We launched a whole new line of products called Puro Air in March of 2021. Just to put in perspective, that launch was so successful that those continuous air disinfection products went on to make up about 80% of our revenues for the rest of the year. And so people were very focused on continuous air disinfection. They wanted to reduce viral pathogen loads within their spaces. And it allowed us to expand our lines significantly. So our product offerings today are 3 or 4 times larger than they were pre-pandemic. And our company has grown by about 500% during that time. So from an employee standpoint, from a product standpoint as well.
Wow. So I guess kind of going through some of the products, what are the different ways that your product can be installed, and how is it different compared to other UV disinfection companies and products that we've seen in the market today?
Definitely. So a lot of our products are very unique. So our Helo disinfection devices, which are surface disinfection products, I would say before the pandemic, that was actually one of the only installable UV products for surface disinfection available in the market. Additionally, it has a whole bunch of other functionality that's really unique. It can be controlled with BACnet, which is like a building automation system protocol. It can be integrated within other control systems for easier control, better reporting capabilities, and provides really acute levels of disinfection. So by acute, I mean like high levels of disinfection in short periods of time. It's a very intense source, and it's very small. So our smallest unit that can disinfect about a space 10 by 10, so like a small room. It's only the size of a book. It's 6 inches by 8 inches by 2.5 inches in depth. It has all the control built into that system in that size, and has full BACnet compatibility. So it's a really unique product, very, very compact, very strong. It is also one of the most tested products in the world against SARS-CoV-2, so the COVID-19 virus. We've had 3 independent tests on that product since the beginning of the pandemic. And that product was the product that was also used in the city of New York and by about a dozen other transit organizations around the country to disinfect subways, buses, different types of vehicles. And so those are Helo products. Our Puro Air products have kind of exploded onto the scene. So we have both products that can be installed within like a room, which is our Aurora and our Whisper products. These are some of the quietest products on the market that can do continuous air disinfection, and some of the most well-tested. Our Aurora product, again, has been tested against SARS-CoV-2, as well as a whole host of other types of pathogens. And we achieve a 99.974% level of disinfection per pass, so per volume of air that moves through our unit once. And so it's one of the most effective units that's available on the market, and it's very attractive looking. So it's an easy thing to install within a space. It looks good within a space. We also have units that can go within HVAC, so like actually into an air duct, into an air handler. Our units are very specialized for that application. Again, very effective. Everything that we do is extremely well tested and well vetted. And with that, we can also integrate them with building automation systems. So one of the things that we found in this space was that a lot of the systems that were being installed are what we would call kind of like a stupid system. There's no integration. It's very difficult to get any type of reporting out of it. And what we were hearing from our customers was that they wanted reporting. They wanted visibility into what was installed within their space, any type of ongoing maintenance that was required. So all of our new systems in this category, for the HVAC category, all have built-in integration. So they can be controlled by BACnet. They can be controlled by different types of control systems, like our Puro Net control system, or be able to report through those types of systems. And so we're trying to make it easier to install with better reporting capabilities, better monitoring capabilities, just to make it a little bit more, I would say, customer centric.
Cool. Yes, I've got two more questions for you.
Of course.
Our first one is, what got Puro interested in joining our Siemens Connect ecosystem?
That's a great question. So we actually have a long history with Siemens, and Siemens from the start, when we were just kind of pioneering this category, had a lot of interest in our UVC technologies. Originally for the healthcare space, but now, for some of the other commercial spaces and some really interesting applications. And we wanted to make sure that the product could be well integrated with anything that Siemens is doing to make it simpler for a Siemens salesperson to be able to sell, and to make it more connected. Siemens has, say, some of the best building automation technologies available on the market. And we wanted to make sure that our systems were available to those building automation systems. The Siemens Connect program has allowed us to do that. It's also allowed us to effectively, I would say, showcase and market those products within Siemens itself. Siemens is an enormous entity, and the different areas that Siemens touches are very, very broad. And so in order to really show how your products can be used in a whole bunch of applications, it's important, in my opinion, to use the Siemens Connect ecosystem to really be able to showcase that, and also to show that you can be integrated in the greater Siemens ecosystem and systems that are available out there.
Cool. So we definitely covered a lot today. So if listeners had to take one thing away from this podcast, what should they take away?
Definitely. So UVC disinfection systems are some of the safest, some of the most well-tested on the market, and they can be used in just about any type of application to make a space safer. We're honored to be part of a technology that allows businesses to reopen, allows schools to reopen, keeping students safe, and we'll continue to innovate in the space to make our products easier to use, safer, and cover more applications.
That is probably exactly a really good summary of the entire podcast. So yeah, thank you for joining us today. And thank you to everyone who's taken the time out of your day to listen. So for more information on Puro, you can go and visit the marketplace. And you can also be on the lookout for our next episode. And remember that all of these podcasts are on demand. Thank you.